All right, welcome to Guided Practice. Let's do this together, okay? We are on page 248, and number one, we have some fraction strips. And for number one, we're going to be using these fraction strips here, and I've made another drawing of it here, a little larger. But basically, we have three fraction strips, so we have three holes here. So as we go from left side to right side, okay, we've got three holes. So for instance, so we've got one hole here. Let's say that's one whole pizza. We've got another whole pizza right here and another whole pizza right here, okay? But if you notice, each one of those pizzas have been divided up, partitioned off equally, but in different amounts. Okay, so the first one in thirds, because we have 1, 2, 3. Second one in fourths, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the third one in sixths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so now we're asked to compare two fractions. 2/3 compared to 2/4. Look at those denominators. The denominator for the first one is a 3. So we know that the whole of this one has been divided up into 3 equal parts. So that would represent up here. The denominator for this one is 4, so fourths. So that would represent this whole right here because it's been divided up into fourths. So is 2/3 or 2 out of 3, so here's 1, 2/3 right here, is that greater than, less than, or equal to 2/4? 2 out of 4. And here's 2/4. So we have 2/3, 2/4. I want you to do some work here, figure it out. You write that down, give me an answer, and then pause it, and then come on back when you're ready. All right, here we go. I am looking at this, and I think that 2/3 goes farther than 2/4 for the whole. So 2/3 is greater than. Rawr. That alligator is looking at the 2/3, open its mouth. It's larger, okay? Let's go on to number 2. All right, guys, now for number 2, we're still looking at the same fraction strips, but we're going to compare 1/3 to 3/6. 1/3 to 3/6. It's a denominator. Let's look at it. This one has the denominator 3. That means that the whole has been divided up into thirds. Right here, third, third, third. This denominator says 6. So this fraction has been divided up, the whole, into sixths, representing right here. Now let's look at the numerator. The numerator for this one says 1. So 1/3, or 1 out of 3. 1, right there, 1/3. Compared to 3/6. 3 of the 6. Here's a 6, 6, 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 6. So we're going to look at, is 1/3 greater than, less than, or equal to 3/6? Pause the video, come up with the answer, come on back. All right. Well, based on looking at this, I see 1/3 only goes about this far. But 3/6 go all the way to here. Covers much more of the whole. So 1/3 is less than 3/6. That alligator's mouth is going to be looking over at the 3/6. So 1/3 is less than 3/6. Okay, number 3 for guided practice. I wrote it down here, but it's right here on the page. We're comparing 4/8 to 4/6. Now, if you notice that this first one has eighths, that means the whole pizza has been divided up into eighths, or 8 equal pieces. Now, we don't have a representation up here. We could draw one, but I want you to think of another thing here. We have eighths, and we're comparing it to sixths. think about what you know about denominators and how the bigger the denominator, what happens to the individual piece? Does the individual piece get larger or smaller? Okay. The reason why I'm asking you this, thinking about this, is because look at the numerator. There's 4, and then there's 4. So we have the same amount of pieces. So if you have 4/8, or 4 out of 8 pieces, compare that to 4 out of 6 pieces, or 6. Just by looking at that, would you be able to determine if 4/8 is less than, greater than, or equal to 4/6? Give it some thought, pause the video, and come on back. All right. Now, once again, we could definitely draw 8ths right here and look at the model. But I'm hoping what you thought of is this. As the denominator got bigger, look at how small the pieces got. When the denominator was 3, look at how big those pieces are, because there was only 3 to be divided up into this whole. But now we went to 4. So now you had to squeeze 4 pieces into the same size whole pizza. So they got a little smaller. Then we went to 6ths. Now you had to squeeze 6 pieces into the same size pizza. It got smaller. So what do you think is going to happen to the 8ths? You're going to have to squeeze 8 pieces now in the same size. So those pieces are going to get even smaller. So if you have 4 of the 6 compared to 4 of the 8ths, I think that those is going to be less than 4/6. But let's prove it. Boom, boom, boom. And let's divide that in half. And let's divide those in half. Those are 4. And now we have 8ths. And if we want to go ahead and we have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. Compared to 4/6, 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6. Look at the difference. 4/6 is definitely larger than 4/8. Now in number 4, you're asked to compare 4/4 to 2/4. This time you notice the denominator is the same. You're comparing a pizza that has been cut up into 4 equal slices to the same size pizza. Second pizza has been cut up into 4 equal size pieces. So if you have 4 out of the 4 compared to 2 out of the 4, ladies and gentlemen, is 4/4 less than, greater than, or equal to 2/4? And I'm hoping you're saying that 4/4 is greater than 2/4. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4/4, or you can just have 2/4. There you go. Now let's look at number 5. You're comparing 3/4 to 3/6. Are the denominators the same? Nope. How about the numerators? Is the numerators the same? They are. 3 pieces out of this pizza and 3 pieces out of this pizza. Now use your information. What do you know about the denominator? Okay. When a pizza is cut up into 4ths, how big are the pieces compared to a pizza that's been cut up into 6ths? Okay. So I want you to think, what's greater? Is 3/4 less than, greater than, or equal to 3/6? Pause the video, figure it out, come on back. Okay, hopefully you said, you know what? I know the smaller the denominator, the bigger the piece. If I have 3 of these pieces compared to 3 of these pieces, I know that 3/4 is greater than 3/6. I can have 1, 2, 3 compared to 1, 2, 3. All right, let's take a look at this one. Number 6, 5/8. compared to 5 6? All right. Take a look at the denominator first. Are the denominators the same? Are they sliced up the same way? Well, this one's divided up into eighths, this pizza. This pizza is divided up into sixths, so they are not. So we can't just easily compare between the two because these pieces, there's 8 in one hole and these have 6 in one hole, so they're different size pieces. But now let's take a look at the numerator. The numerator will tell us how many pieces are we looking at. Well, this one has 5 out of the 8, and this one has 5 out of the 6. So we're comparing 5 pieces against 5 pieces, but we know that those size pieces are going to be a little different. So think about what you know about the denominator, okay? Is 5 eighths less than, greater than, or equal to 5 sixths? Pause the video, think about it, and then come on back. Okay, now, just by looking at this, you know the bigger the denominator gets, the smaller each piece becomes. So if a pizza has been divided up into eighths, that's going to go down here. Those pieces are going to be smaller than the sixths. So if you have 5 of the 8, but you then have 5 of the 6th, we're talking 5 eighths is going to be less of the pizza than 5 6, okay? Because once again, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And then here, if I was to divide that one up into eighths, those are 8 equal pieces. We'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look how much further 5 6 goes. All right, now I want you to start working on the independent practice on the bottom of page 248, okay? They are giving you a number line, which think of that as like a fraction bar, these fractions pieces, okay? So you're going to copy the fraction, the number line on number 9, fill in that missing fraction, and then use that number line and help you with completing numbers 10, 11, 12, and 13, okay? You can also say use what we've been working on here too. Draw something like this. Think about what you know about the denominators and the numerators, okay? And answer 10, 11, 12, and 13. When you're done with that, come on back and watch the video with me with problem solving, okay?